Hello, my name is Kirk Brown, and this is Negotiation Deal Making. I'm discussing the City of Chicago versus Chicago's Teachers Union, the famous Chicago Teachers Strike. Here I have a YouTube video just of recent strikes in the past and just kind of the history of Chicago Student Union, just kind of get like you a familiarization of like what's going on. Just click the link in the bio of the YouTube video and just kind of get a quick watch, then come back and just watch finish the presentation. Okay, the Chicago Teacher Strike 2019. There was a lot of different components in this strike. It kind of was like on the last leg of the contract, so a lot of new negotiations came. But we've seen a lot of different negotiation processes going on: power play, and power position, the ability for lower power to overthrow a higher power in the process of negotiation, the trikes tool. So we're gonna just kind of go over basically everything that happened with the strike and the different details and different components and the different positions and interests of each party and actually what went down in this process. So the participants, we have the Chicago Teachers Union, the City of Chicago Public School Board, and our mayor, our current mayor, Lori Lightfoot. She's actually the first female Chicago mayor. Just a quick fun fact. Um, So the Chicago proposal it's kind of a little vague in my opinion, but since their contract was kind of up with CPS, they kind of a contract dispute emerged, and CPS initially offered the union a 14% raise over the 5 years, while the union was seeking 15% over the 3 years. Both sides had many different conflicts, but one of the bigger conflicts was the length of the contract. And Chicago proposed a 5 year contract, while the union proposed a 3 year contract. In Chicago had many different proposals. They wasn't really trying to change what in the last contract. And that's what kind of got the Chicago Student Union, Teachers Union, excuse me, upset and very flustered about everything that was going on. So the reasons for the Chicago Teachers Union strike was many different reasons. Pay fairness, protection of benefits, fair evaluation of procedures, teachers training, increasing staff, smaller classes sizes, and just overall just a new contract that's for the students and the teachers was really what the Chicago students was looking for. And they went into many different negotiations. They tried to prevent the strike, but the CPS was not budging at all. They didn't want to agree to none of its terms. So the CPS, I mean, Chicago's Teachers Union decided to put a more heavy weight on it. The power struggle between the city of Chicago and the teachers union was kind of a serious one. The city of Chicago had more power, legitimate power. However, they really felt like their power can overthrow the negotiations. And on the contrary, the Chicago Student Union didn't have a lot of power, but it utilizes the collective bargaining power to go its members to strike and to vote and to kind of put that pressure on the city of Chicago. Hey, we need a change and we want to fight for this change. Throughout the negotiation in class, we learned about best alternative to negotiate an agreement, and the city of Chicago must provide an education to the children of Chicago no matter what. So therefore, they have no best alternative because they need a contract so these teachers can teach their children of Chicago. Versus Chicago's teaching union, they had limited alternatives. They had so many different avenues they could take besides just a strike, which had them a little bit more power, in my opinion, because if negotiation went left, they still had different alternatives to take to get what they want. Also, in our class, we learned about different strategies. And Chicago, the city of Chicago, began the negotiations using hardball tactics due to their perspective of having more power, which I understand their perspective because it's like, hey, we're the one that's paying, we're the one that's have to finance all these different programs and ideas that you guys want. So you guys have to like understand that we have the power in this situation. Um, to overcome the tactics, the Chicago Teacher Union acted on the city of Chicago's weak alternative. They didn't have alternative and undertook the strike action, and the strike action took both placed both pressure on the city of Chicago to make conclusions and also pressure the city of Chicago to act in a good faith as a result of media coverage. So the Chicago Teachers Union had a lot of great strategies to use and utilizes the city of Chicago weakness very well. In my opinion, what went well through this whole negotiation process is that we kind of seen two different entities of power and how they kind of work to their advantage. So it kind of put a different lens on what negotiation is. People think negotiation is so black and white, but within this negotiation, we actually seen different power struggles going on, and it wasn't just a yes or a no. So that's kind of cool. Also, another thing that went very well, in my opinion, is just to see how a collective, a group of people can overthrow a powerhouse like City of Chicago. So I think that went really well, in my opinion. What went wrong in this negotiation is, I think, the length of negotiation. I think they could have came to this point like quicker if they understood the ideal of like compromising and understand that I'm not going to get 100% of this negotiation, but I need to be able to, coexist and make sure that people have an even balance of power, and just the need of education, the need of people understanding that, hey, with these big parties negotiating, we need to understand that we can't drag this out because dragging it out could cost more money and could just be very damaging. So I think that's what we want in this negotiation, because it was a very long strike and a lot of people suffer from it. So my advice, will be for the city of Chicago to take more of a lean approach and understanding the needs of the city and how they could kind of like break it down so everyone can be happy. In conclusion, the union wanted a 3-year deal, but it did not win that. But they did come to an agreement with a lot of other things. They got more workers, they got more money, they was able to reduce the ratio of students, they were able to hire case managers and different plans to make sure these kids are actually getting the needs that they want. They was able to just establish a joint staffing committee of equality and of hiring 30 additional positions for the 120 highest need schools. So I guess the strike actually put pressure on them to kind of make a big change to Chicago, and I really believe that this is actually going to work. And I'm all in favor for the Chicago Teachers Union actually stepping up to the plate and fighting what they believe in, and actually showing the great skills of negotiating without violence and without a big hurrah, but doing it the right way and utilizing different techniques in negotiation. And this was kind of this class was about utilizing your words to kind of get your needs met through negotiation, understand different terms. So, in conclusion, this is a great case study to use because it's not the typical case study. This case study kind of showed a light to a different negotiation between big entities like that. Thank you guys for viewing it. I hope you guys love this presentation and you learn a lot about Chicago Teacher Union. I'm in support of it so much, and have a blessed day.